7:45.
Oh, okay.
We're all good.
7:45 or 25? Oh.
Yeah, because Bobby's on at 7:30.
We have two big thumbs up from the text from
I just said
FCAT.
7:25.
I think that means we're
Oh, well,
going out
that's all right.
live. Ladies and gentlemen, if you hear this, it's
not gonna be that
a
long.
regularly scheduled meeting of the Sunderland Board of Selectmen. We can call it to order at 7:01. We're going to start tonight with George, who's been out shopping for new trucks. Thank you to the annual town meeting for replacing a vehicle that's in particularly sad shape. And what we're going to talk about tonight is the actual truck bid. Now, of course, we purchase vehicles and then we equip them. First question, George, is this an equipped truck?
No, well, it will be, but
Right.
right now it's just a chassis.
Okay, so you went out to bid with them,
Yes.
and how did we do?
Lowest bid is from Roundtree Ford, and they meet pretty much all the specs, so I would recommend it go with them.
Okay, and again, this is, remind the listeners, George, this isn't a F-350 diesel extra cab for you to drive around in, is it? Oh, good.
550.
550, I know.
Ah,
Be a one-ton dump truck.
Okay.
one of those little 350s.
Excuse me, I wonder, George, you just want to talk about the FERCog's bid process? I mean, typically, we've gone through state bid or locally. George went through the COG this time, through their procurement.
Basically, we write up a spec for the truck and we send it out to all the prospective bidders throughout the state or even in Vermont, New Hampshire.
Mm-hmm.
And they all send back a bid, and I think we had six bids, I think, this time around.
Seven.
7 bids. So,
You know what's amazing, George? We're looking at the bids right now, and we got 7 bids. The low bid was $40,192. The highest was $44,397. But the ones in the middle, you're looking at, it went from, one price here is for $41,181.
Or even,
$40,996. Another bid of $40,998, a $2 difference
yeah.
in cost. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Nice. So, I'm sorry, I'm butting in. How about prep and delivery? What are you looking at?
they say no later than 90 days. It could be sooner than that, and hopefully it is sooner than that. We'll push them to get it to us sooner, so we can get the truck to the body.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever wins the bid for the body, that is opening on the 14th, so that's been out for almost a week now, so.
Same COG practice?
COG's doing the
Yeah.
bidding process for us.
Hmm.
They send all that package to,
Mhm.
or whoever calls, then they send the packet to them,
Nice.
and then they have to bond it and send it back to Andrea, then I go over with her while she opens it.
Okay. Interesting. So we have a recommendation, George. You wanna work with Roundtree Ford for $40,192?
Yes.
Okay. Discussion of the board?
No.
Anything else? Okay.
Well, I just wondered how come he's got cushy front seats?
Bushy front seats?
Says we're down there. Captain swivel chairs. No.
No, it doesn't say anything about cushy.
Well, what was this, built-in massage?
They have to
and,
stay awake in the middle of the night
Yeah, I
when
know,
they're
right?
plowing.
Exactly
He's
right.
got a coffee maker and
Now you're talking, right?
Got a Keurig in the dash.
Now I'm gonna look. Now I'm gonna look, maybe he does say coffee
exactly.
maker.
Okay, so we have a bid in front of us, $40,192. Low bid was to Roundtree Ford, I believe they're in Brattleboro, Vermont. And
actually Keene now. They moved to Keene.
they moved to Keene?
Yeah.
Okay. And that said, is there a motion to accept recommendation?
Motion.
Second.
Motion made in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
3-0. If we can authorize Margaret to act as procurement officer and go ahead and sign away, that'd be great.
Tomorrow?
Yep.
Okay.
I'll call her in the morning and.
All right,
Thank
thanks,
you.
George.
All right,
Thanks
thanks,
so
have a
much,
good one.
Good night.
Okay. So, minutes of October 28th, if I can find them. Short minutes. Short minutes, short meeting. All right? Okay. We were here, Margaret, you can't vote, you weren't here.
I don't know.
Motion.
We have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion made second to accept the minutes of the 28th. All those in favor?
Aye.
3-0, please. One thing that we did last week was we read the list of the winter non-maintained roads. We have actually did not take a vote on that last week. So that list has not changed. That list is available both at the town. It's the same list that we had to do every year. And that said, we have motion to, we're not closing the roads, but we're not maintaining them from this period until we open them back up.
Motion.
Second. Motion's made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 3-0, please.
It'll be on the website tonight.
Perfect. Okay. That said, we got our list right there. Town administrator updates. We have a couple of CIC grants that we're working through.
Yes, we can talk about the Solid Waste District's application first. You have a little sheet in your packets toward the back. The Solid Waste District did a pilot program for recycling agricultural plastic and wood pellet bags a few weeks ago. They had some turnout, but Jan Amin, the director of the district, would like to make this a permanent program, and would like to apply for a CIC grant to get this program up and running. I guess there was of all the materials that were brought, there was a significant amount of agricultural plastic brought to the site. So she'd like to start it up, and this is going to require the support of the member towns in the district, and there are sheets downstairs for the board to sign if the board supports submitting the application for this program.
Now, this will, of course, be district-wide, and is the emphasis, again, going to be on agricultural exclusively? It says agricultural and wood pellets, according to the email.
That's right. It's agricultural plastic and wood pellet bags, so it's basically anything to do with agricultural plastic.
Interesting, because again, we get these
Homeowners who have all those.
There are a lot of wood pellet bags
Yeah.
out.
just
That's
headed
right.
there.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, if it's, is there an opportunity to, well, this would be a continuation of a pilot, trying to instill something that is a regular option for creating this recycling stream.
She used, by the way, she used a DEP grant to fund the pilot program, so, but that was a one-time.
This is set it up for like ongoing?
This would be ongoing.
Interesting. Anybody who's been driven around knows the farming industry now. You see the large rollers,
White
the
bales.
white bales, weed control, direct drip irrigation, which is seasonal. It comes up, it gets put down every year, it gets pulled back up again.
Yep.
I mean, to the extent that we can have a recycled stream for that, I can only applaud their efforts. But it always, like many things, must feel awfully daunting to get started.
Yeah.
Okay, so, we have a product in front of us. This is CIC downstairs. Is there a motion to endorse this effort and sign?
Motion.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded to endorse the CIC grant for the Franklin County Solid Waste District for the recycling of agricultural plastic and wood pellet bags, et cetera, et cetera. I think that's a laudable goal. All those in favor?
Aye. It's a lot of plastic.
It's amazing how much actually is, you know? What was, within the last 50 years or so, the war on packaging. I think it was ballot initiative at the state level at one point.
And I think of the increase in pellet stove
Right,
pellets.
right, pallets and pallets and pallets.
Pallets.
How many bags are the
Pallets
pallets
of
on?
pellets.
50? Depends.
50 bags,
50 bags.
40-pound bags.
50,
Well,
yeah.
we're loaded up too. And don't forget, there's all that plastic that surrounds the whole pallet
Right,
of
the
them
wrap
too.
of it, that's
a lot
right.
of plastic.
Interesting.
Yep.
It'd be interesting to see where the market lies for the recycled product, what it actually is.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting. Okay,
That Patagonia fleece
Jan
you
should
put
come
on.
and talk
there
about
you
it.
go, there you go.
That's right.
On the town administrator update, we got another CIC grant we're working toward?
Yes, and the chief, if the chief is
Okay.
here a little early, and the chief is here.
Oh,
Right on
look at
cue.
that,
Right on
what
cue.
timing.
Thank you, chief. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Feel like the band.
Exactly.
Play as he comes in, you
Just-
know? Little
all the way
Tonight
through.
Show intro.
So there you go.
Okay, so we just talked about one under administrator updates, and before we move into the CIC, Margaret, is there anything else with respect to administrator updates?
Just a couple of things. Solar projects are moving forward. The planning board is gonna be holding its public hearing on the special permit Tuesday, November 19th at 7 PM. And on the detailed energy audits in town buildings, I have an appointment with the energy consultant this Thursday morning at 9 AM. I want to see where he's at on those reports because we want those reports in. So I will give the board further updates in the next couple of weeks.
Now, that's second tier energy reduction
This is-
efforts,
Yeah, this
building
is,
envelopes, et cetera.
right, and this is
Okay.
necessary to, well, not only spend the town's green communities funding, but to prepare capital requests. So I told him, you know, it's time, we need these reports, so hopefully we'll get them.
Okay. We have posted for treasurer collector's position in which locations?
Okay, in the town office building, on the town website, and on the treasurer collectors association listserv.
Okay. And that is gonna be an opening until the 12th?
The 12th, yes, it
12th.
closes on the 12th.
Okay, we'll talk about that under board updates. Chief, CIC for a regional fire survey?
I guess what they're trying to do is, one of their initiatives is to get software, computer system that would be the same throughout the county.
Mm-hmm.
So if we had a big fire and there's 4 different towns that came to it, you know, we'd all be able to share the information when they're doing fire incident reports.
Oh, that makes sense.
When the fire's done, instead of recreating the wheel every time
Smart.
somebody does it, and also having the dispatch center online with, their data, during an incident, they keep track of times, when a piece of equipment goes out, and be able to download all that stuff.
Isn't that interesting? There was a software upgrade at the ambulance service a couple of years ago now? There was a goal toward common information exchange, run reports, et cetera?
That was the start of it. That was the start.
Yeah. Are you talking about the common, names and stuff?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Again, by each town doing its own bit, it's gotta be that much more difficult. Streamline it, make it uniform. So this is computer software, again, CIC's Community Innovations, and this is gonna be run through the COG.
Yeah, it's got
That's also the same grant that we're trying to get money for the EMS
Okay.
system down here in South County.
Yep.
So we're both, the FERCog and, the town administrators are going after the same
Mhm.
pot of money.
This is one of the main reasons. I don't think it says in there how much is being applied for that. Each application does have to stay within, within a reasonable range.
Right.
Request-wise. So, personally, I don't see it as one group competing with another. I think these applications are for completely different things.
Mhm.
I think South County Ambulance Service would have an extremely strong application, stronger than this or any other, initiatives likely, because the regional EMS service for South County is approved and on its way to being implemented,
Right.
whereas these things aren't necessarily there yet.
That's interesting. How would the grants, are they catalysts for those, or are they actually helpful in seeing the
What's already.
movement move forward?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's interesting. Some of them can be for studies, I think, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
The administrators talked on Thursday morning about the regional EMS and putting together the application on that.
Okay.
We're looking at the funding of equipment and supplies, the funding of a consultant to come in after implementation to monitor how the system is operating. So really specific things to get the system up and running.
Good. On the subject, on the CIC, something we designed, motion to move forward with, motion to apply. The standard format for the application?
It is a standard format, yeah. And the boards are gonna be, just gonna be asked to sign the support pages for each of the applications.
Questions about the actual initiative itself? Pretty straightforward.
Yep.
Okay, is there a motion to go ahead and sign the Community Innovations Grant to support the COG in their initiative for a regional fire safety review?
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
3-0. Okay, regional EMS. Of course, we had
One
special.
thing before we go on, part of that fire study, the FERCog, from our suggestions and Lincoln County Chiefs,
Mhm.
is going to try to do some cooperative purchasing.
Okay,
The chiefs on their own have done some of that already. 7 or 8 departments have group purchased thermal imagers.
Huh.
And saved, I think, $1,500–1,600 per imager,
nice.
just by ordering group. Some of their initiatives that the county wants to do is hose buying maybe.
Yeah.
Also, like ladder testing, pump testing. Those two things are currently NFPA standards that they suggest you do all the time.
So you have there's a rolling date that goes along with the combination of testing and replacement. Last couple of town meetings, we've actually applied monies on a kind of a rolling major maintenance.
We have bought a lot of hose
Yep.
already. But some of those other ideas, with pump testing
Yep.
and stuff like that.
Hose and pump and ladder testing should be annual.
I remember we discussed hose buying for an hour or so one time.
That's exactly right. Well, again, by pooling those resources together and buying up, I mean,
Makes sense.
just to see even something that's, you wouldn't think there'd be a lot of price break on thermal imagers above 10 units or something like this, such a special piece of equipment, and yet it sounds like you're able to extract some of those savings. That's great.
That is good.
Because I guess Turner's Falls bought one last year, and theirs was almost $6,000, and this year they're buying it for $3,900.
Nice,
Mm.
nice. Nice. Well, that's a real savings. Of course, the price came down.
Well, I was gonna say, it makes you wonder about the price to begin with,
Buying
huh?
in bulk.
Yeah.
The price came down anyway. Nice. With respect to regional EMS, of course, we had a special town meeting. There's a vast majority vote to approve, and then an appropriation.
Vast majority? I think it was everybody but one.
It was everybody but one.
That's
Almost unanimous.
declared by the moderator as unanimous.
There you go. So the votes are in place, and of course, the next steps and timelines are for each of the towns, and some already have, to go about their appointments. And with the IMA calls for 2 appointments from the Board of Selectmen to the Regional EMS Board of Oversight, right? And with that, I'll put, my 1.5 cents in first. These 2 guys have been associated with it from the start. And to see in particular the concept into fruition and development, the continuity in my mind is one of the most important elements.
Mhm.
So, I mean, that's my own, I'm not trying to volunteer you guys in particular, that being Tom and Bob, but any other discussion with respect to that? Should we have a completely different set of faces doing it?
No, I would agree. I think, especially during the formation period, it's important to keep going with that. I would agree.
Okay. Tom, you have any reservations, or?
I think for the first year, I think you want to keep as many as the same working group
Mhm.
for the first year, so we can,
Right, till it's stable and.
I think there has to be an understanding about the criticality of moving it forward.
Right.
Yep.
And I think, so yeah, you have to stay on task.
Okay.
At least get, like you said, we gotta get it, they're gonna have first thing you need to do is create a job description for the
The
director.
Right.
Yep,
Right.
exactly.
And
Because that's another person.
one of
you
the
get
problems
on.
with FCAT, if you remember, one of the problems with FCAT is they hired a director. They didn't have a vision. FCAT thought that the director could give them a vision.
Right.
That's not how it usually works.
It was-
And I think if you look now at FCAT has a vision,
Mhm.
and they have a director that's making that vision come true.
Yep.
I would say the same thing. The people that have been involved to date have a vision. Now you get a director, and that director has to get that in position, has to start hiring people, has to start, how's the hard work starts.
Right.
Town meeting was easy,
The lead up, the study.
relatively speaking.
The study, the public hearings,
What
town
was
meeting.
easy?
Town
It was.
meeting.
Oh, town meeting, yes.
Well, to getting to the
Well,
point
the
of time.
road there, I don't know, was
Well,
long.
Well, but no, it was actually easy, because it's something we've done before. We know how to make an article, we know how to make a presentation, we know how to answer questions. Now we have to start this.
Right, you got your vision, now you need the director to implement
How
it,
many
basically.
departments have we started in the town of Sunderland? Since I've been a selectman for 14, 15 years, I can't think of starting a department.
FCAT would be the closest.
FCAT would be the closest.
Any kind of initiative, FCAT would be the closest.
And this is really almost a standalone enterprise, really. It's even
It
more than a
is.
department, when you think about it, you know?
So getting to, we know how to get to the point, now we need to move that point forward. And again, no matter, what's amazing to me, you can be vehemently against the process or the final thing, but when you have 3 towns together, and in fact, the people that went to town meeting to vote, it wasn't close. If you put the 3 towns together, put all the votes together, it wouldn't have been
Yeah.
close.
So you raise a good point. If you look at the totality of the members, it was vast majority, nearly unanimous.
Right.
Unanimous in 1.
Correct. I'm just saying it, so the
Well, I think
discussion.
the process had something to do with that, because the process was extremely open and transparent for a long time.
Right, and we had
It
the public
included
forums
a lot of
and,
public input, so.
Correct, so to get where we are, I think was easy, because of the votes. The votes proved, that was basically, it was, but we knew what information to present. Now to hire that first director, getting that job description, getting the system licensed by the state.
Right.
The first billings, the first day that we put the ambulance over in South Deerfield and staff it for, those are difficult things.
Right.
And people may not, and they're gonna be change. There are gonna be changes in both our departments, all 3 department, people may not like.
Yep.
For a lot of various reasons. They could, but we have to take that and answer those questions. Scott had questions about manning. Are you guaranteeing people that have present jobs, are you guaranteeing them jobs?
Correct.
Scott was very upfront about that right from the beginning.
You're gonna hire, absolutely right.
Should they go through, do they need to go through the hiring process? So, I think there's strong questions.
The first official Board of Oversight meeting is scheduled for November 19th at 7 PM at the Sunderland Public Safety Complex. That will be a posted meeting, because it's going to be an official board appointed by all 3 towns.
Okay.
And I think the the EMS directors are meeting Friday?
Friday, I got a meeting with the State Department of EMS, so.
That's a certification body?
Well, we need to find out from them what we gotta do to get this process rolling.
Mm-hmm.
We all have licenses now, but we're moving up to paramedical
Mhm.
soon, so. We need to find out what troops we gotta jump through,
To get through that.
see what they want from us.
And that's an information meeting, first exchanges, identify the process and move forward.
Right.
Okay. So if you guys don't have any particular reservations.
You want a motion?
Yeah.
Motion to appoint Tom and Chief to the Boo.
So what's the term running from? Is it from now until,
Is it,
Now,
July
Yes.
Remainder of this
that's right.
appointment cycle?
Yeah, I think the remainder of this appointment cycle would probably make the most sense, right?
yeah,
And then it gets us into the annual appointments,
and then you can add it to the annual appointment list.
okay,
and the sound went up, and the sound went down, and the sound went up.
Ooh,
Oh, there it is.
yeah.
Uh-oh. Okay, we have a motion, I'll second that motion. This is to appoint Tom Feigenkevitz and Bob Ahearn as Sunderland's reps to the Board of Oversight for the regional EMS. And that would be until our in line
June
with
30th.
our, annual appointment process.
June
on
30th, 2014.
All those in favor?
Aye.
3-0. Okay. Discussion with respect to regional EMS. Any more? We've got our appointments. We know that now it's the time to put things together.
Well, no. We, as a board, have to vote the IMA.
Mhm.
Right, Margaret?
The board is going to
Yeah.
have to vote the IMA, and I'm hoping,
Right.
I'm getting it to our council.
Okay.
I was supposed to do it today, but I'll do it tomorrow,
Mhm.
for the final legal approval. And then he will get it, he will speak to Deerfield's council, and I hope by November 18th,
Next
the board
meeting we
will
can have
have,
it.
the board will have the intermunicipal agreement in front of it
Okay.
to be executed.
That's right, we have a bye week next week, so.
Yes.
This week is the 11th.
Yeah.
So the IMA will come up on the 18th. Be right in line with
It'll be right before the
With the
first
meeting,
our
yeah.
meeting.
meetings.
That'll be good.
Okay, that's a legal review right now. Has there been any other feedback from the other communities about significant changes in the IMA?
No, we had discussed a couple of things. I think the IMA, as the board last saw it, is substantially how it's gonna be.
Okay.
There might be that one small change that I can't think of right now that was discussed at the Deerfield joint meeting. It's very small, and
Something about Margaret being made the grand poobah?
absolutely not.
Oh, if she gets a
Nothing
pink
like
hat
that
in
at
the
all, so,
Just a little thing, Margaret, right?
GP.
The royal order of the water buffalo.
Exactly right.
yeah, the fine print. No,
Nice.
no. It's basically what the board has seen.
Okay, so we'll run those up and get that out for a legal review, hopefully for one of the last times before it gets amended at some point. At least we can have a framework to move forward
And the
with.
boards of selectmen jointly, together, can make changes to that, yeah.
Okay, so that's that for, with respect to regional EMS. Very good. Chief, I have a
Excuse me.
list of things in front of me here called the EMS Saves Award. And there's usually a Franklin County Emergency Medical Services Committee meeting, and the members of the Sunderland Police and Fire Department both are recommended here for a Saves Award. Now, it's pretty significant in that it is the efforts in saving a human life.
That's good.
So that said, we have the police in front of us first, and that, of course, is Brendan Lyons for his efforts in saving a human life, and this is dated May 17th. This recommendation was based on March 29, 2013 meeting, and then the other officer is Ms. Brenda Teslowski. Then in the Chief's Department, the Fire Department, of course, Bob, you're here, certificate of recognition. Again, same event. Mr. Mike Hebert, same event. Jeffrey Hubbard, and then James Tower. And
What was the event? I'm sorry.
I was gonna ask.
Oh, I thought I thought I missed it.
I was gonna ask.
Okay.
No, I said same event.
So, Chief, with respect to that, all of these are, real recognitions for efforts all the EMS as well as the police do. And to the extent that you can share, maybe a very brief piece about the event.
Jim, I think you were first on scene.
I was.
It was a cold winter day.
Cold winter day, as a matter of fact, there was a regional EMS meeting happening at the fire station. And the call came in about 4:05, I had just left the station, I was driving by the road. So that put me right in front of the house within seconds of the phone going off. Initiated CPR on the gentleman that had fallen in his backyard, and was quickly joined by the on-duty police department, and got ALS there in a timely fashion, and transported him and had a pulse when we arrived at the, long enough for his family members to come in and, say their goodbyes.
That's wonderful. Well, for those efforts, again, this organization usually has an annual meeting and has an affair about that, and they wanted to make sure that these were read aloud. And for that, I'll give you this. And you guys don't have to give it. I'll do it. Thanks, Chief. Delicate things. Okay. Updates from the fire, Bob, while we're, got you here? Anything new, interesting, exciting? This will be your 3 minutes of fame. Nice.
Nothing new on my side.
That's good.
Yeah.
You don't like any news from the fire department, right?
That's exactly right. Okay,
In respect to the ambulance director, I put out request for people in the state of Massachusetts through the fire chiefs of Massachusetts to see if they had job descriptions for ambulance
Nice.
directors, so hopefully I'll get a few responses from there.
perfect.
Do you think about
Listen.
calling Chief Wynn?
I did think of that.
You know, because he's got, you know him pretty well, right, Bobby?
I'm gonna wait and see who responds first.
Although you could always just take a trip down there and maybe go fishing while
Yes,
you're
I
down
think we
right.
should. There's a lot of good places to eat down there.
there. May
And
stop
not too
by.
busy this time of year.
Not as busy. Not as many places open though either, Bob.
How's
All in
seasonal?
favor? That could be our first
Yeah.
order
Is
of
it-
business.
There you
Trip,
go.
trip to Long
I
Island?
find the Cape has changed to a 24/7, 365, and everybody used to be rolled up after Labor Day. It's not the case anymore.
Interesting. Okay, so we've got,
We just lucky we haven't lost Margaret to
Mashpee.
To Wellfleet?
to Wellfleet for $150,000 a year.
Yeah.
no,
There you
it
go.
seems like
Oh, they all pay
pennies.
high over there.
Yeah, right, Margaret?
They all pay high across.
Margaret,
the
what are
state.
those dollar signs dancing over your head right now?
That's right. Just thinking about the Cape.
There you go, well done, well done. Anything else with respect to that? If not, okay. Public comment?
Thank you very much, Jimmy.
Appreciate that, both of you guys very
Thanks.
much.
Bobby, thank you I mean, it's not easy, you guys, so.
Okay.
A piece of
have a good night.
piece of paper doesn't seem like a lot, does it, Bob?
Okay, Shawnee, come on up. And thanks for jumping in early and coming to see us.
So bad Deb's not here, but
That's all right.
I won't be too grateful today. I don't even have a computer set up today, so.
But you brought pink gloves.
And they have hearts on them. Just the
Well-
kind of lady I am right there.
Well done, well done. So we left our last meeting a couple weeks ago, and there was some homework
Yep.
on both our sides. And so, of course, with us, one of the areas of concern was about town meeting. It's not appropriate, it's not germane, doesn't need to get involved.
Okay.
And there was, I think, Conservation Commission homework, and then Building Commissioner homework,
Mhm.
and
We'd already done the building commissioner
Yep.
part, so we
Okay.
submitted what we needed to the building inspector, so for
Great.
the work and schematic, actually transferring over a schematic of where the footprint of he just needed a sketch of the
Yep.
area.
Yep.
And then we went to the conservation committee and asked, through Todd, who then did a site visit, and then I know kind of, when you said Todd last week, I didn't realize it was actually the same Todd that I had walked the property with regard to, but that's just kind of a funny fact. It's such a big town we live in. If you keep walking in a circle, you just run into everybody like, oh, it's you, Todd. It's the same. There's not as many Shaunas in town, but, so anyway, he went and took a look, spoke to Kurt and said that they would, they sent a letter to say to send their approval. They agreed that it was fine. And we also anecdotally spoke to people who use the field during all of the seasons. And while there is an area way off to left field, like almost where there's an APR piece that's all outside of the school grounds there, that area does get kind of soggy. The only area that they noticed sponginess was in the outer left field. And there's no field that my daughters have ever played on that hasn't had a spongy outfield during a certain part of the spring. But the main infield has never been at risk for flooding or problems. That, when it was in active use, I mean, of course, it's been in disrepair now for a long time, so I can't really speak to that as much.
sure.
But yeah, so they said that they would send a letter through to give you their blessing for us. And in addition to that, I was trying to think of some of the other considerations. I spoke again with the school to let them know that, one of the issues here is that we have some urgency. While we are going to put in for some CPA funding possibly, especially to anchor the maintenance strategy and the long view, the construction of the shed to house a on-site mower, all of the funding that we're using up front to get the building materials in, the skinning, the labor to pour the concrete itself, all of that construction is all private donations and volunteerism from a lot of really great folks. So I think that the project would be at risk if we don't leverage that energy. So we're hoping tonight that you will give us your approval to proceed, because we need to do some of that work before the snow flies. To build a great softball field, it's necessary that you get, the ideal circumstance is to skin the field and put down the dirt materials prior to the snow flying, and then allow it to sit over the winter during the silent non-growing period. And then in the spring, we would go through and do some of the refinements and the actual setting up of the bases and whatnot. So the people that we have in place to work with us on that, we have, Brent and Joe Lusky, some folks who've built a lot of the fields around here, and Steve Morris and some of the people volunteering their time. They're available during this very short window to help. So we're hoping to have permission to proceed as soon as this month, with some work. So that's where we are.
Do you have the letter from Concom?
Todd said that Kurt would email it to you, or he put the request and had them send it directly from them.
We don't have it yet.
Okay.
Okay, well, that was like
That
4
shouldn't
days.
be a problem working the field though, Margaret.
No.
Well, no, I guess, I mean, if you're
Field-
not
The field
excavating
existed,
anything.
Right.
The
Right,
field
because
was
they-
pre-existing.
Right.
Yep.
Otherwise,
You digging any topsoil?
Huh?
Are you removing any topsoil?
Well, we'll have to clean up the grass that's grown into the infield, but it was a field prior, so we're
Okay, so you're not taking off any topsoil to put on gravel?
not gravel, no, but we will remove
Or-
topsoil so that we can put in fresh dirt material. So yeah, there will be a truckload of dirt coming out of the infield.
I just want to be sensitive to Concom's concerns, that's all. And I know that removal of,
as
it's
long
being
as it's
replaced,
not,
I don't know.
Well, I also can tell you, I'm not being this, so we
Oh,
spoke to
no.
them and we got their approval.
No, that's
They
fine,
saw
I
this,
just
so
don't-
they did, and so I know that.
I just don't know.
Sure,
you
yeah.
know.
It's probably within the removal amount. There's a certain amount you can, I forget the square footage, but that you can disturb.
It's called skinning for a reason. It's really just to take that top layer off so that you can put you're removing the
Grass off
skinning of
and-
the top two and then putting in the dirt infield. And we're using, the materials we're using come from a place called Boston Materials, which is the place.
It's the dirt
It's
factory.
the dirt place. It's the best
You gotta
place.
get the dirt, the best possible dirt.
Yeah, and so, just frankly, I mean, I'm very busy, a lot of us are busy, but I think that, one thing I've learned from being involved in a lot of the good stuff we get done in this town is sometimes it takes a few people to be excited about something and their energy, and so, in some ways, the biggest investment we have in this is the energy of some people to get it done. My own energy included. We just have a lot of good help right now, good funding. We also have a letter of support coming from the Deerfield Rec Group, Rec Committee. They are also meeting on the 13th to approve some funding to support us. It's really, the school is actually working, as part of this, we're getting the roofs built by the Franklin Tech School program up there. And for materials and work during that collaboration, the school is actually, the district offices are going to be working with us to offset costs there. I can honestly say that the list of, one of the challenges of this project, it's much easier to just pay someone to come in and do everything.
Right.
We have a lot of fantastic people helping, but the spreadsheet has gotten a little silly, because basically we created this exhaustive spreadsheet that went everything from dirt materials, pouring of cement, materials for the labor estimates, and then we go through funding that we have in hard dollars, then in-kind donations of labor and materials, and then the categories of those things. And so one of the challenges for us is by the 13th, when the CPC committee, we want to give them a scope and scale of the project we're trying to do and understand what's the most strategic ask to put in front of for CPC funding.
Sure.
And the focus for our group, and we had a rec committee meeting, I think that was on the list too. The rec committee met and agreed to house and receive the funding and to oversee the maintenance and the management
that
of
makes
funds that were earmarked to manage the maintenance of the field. So that seemed to be everybody's biggest concern, is that we set out, if we put this energy in, that we have a long view plan. And while money will help, I still think that the fundamental piece is having the rec committee functioning in an organized manner I've stepped up there. I'm on the rec committee. I'm the chairperson of the rec committee. We actually assigned a secretary. We took minutes. We are getting it done there. And so this is the classic small town plan to get it done, but we are all in. I'm telling you, the energy's good, and we're going to get the process in place to try to protect our investments. I think with the the onboarding of funds for the first cycle from CPC, I think the rec committee actually has almost a renewed responsibility, because we finally have a funding mechanism. You guys aren't gonna, there's no secret budget that's gonna come to the rec committee anytime soon.
Right.
I'm guessing, unless there's a surprise holding. But, you know,
No
if we get
surprises.
organized and think about really smart ways to take the Parks and Recreation approach to our small town, you know, CPC is one of the best ways to give back to the community, and the rec committee is the right channel for doing that, to create an oversight and a structure to that. So, you know, in this case, it's really nice to see you know, we're really participating at the district level with this field. Rec softball is a district program where we really haven't carried our weight with a viable field. It also creates some nice equity between facilities for young boys versus young girls. We now have a field that, you know, and the fact that it's on the school grounds is, I think, fantastic. It helps to build the feeder program and the energy when the kids see where they're gonna play, so.
Makes good sense. Makes very good sense. Questions of the board?
Don't think so.
So
Pretty
contingent on an email from Concom? Pretty straightforward?
And nothing was required for the dugouts, right?
I don't know what the Concom is for the building of the shed,
Right.
right?
Shouldn't affect the field. The field was existing.
I would think so, because the field is existing. The only thing, I mean, it's gonna be still in the same layout. The only thing you'd be disturbing would be the position of the old infield.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's all grass right now, but
It was
again,
one.
David
It
was a
wasn't,
Concom,
exactly.
the Concom member, I mean, so,
Right,
I don't
it's just
understand. I don't see a big
maintenance,
thing.
really.
Pull the
And
sod
actually,
up.
as part of the building and process, we had to have a site coordinator who
Yep.
is a builder, so with Recor is overseeing that. So we've been, set a course of due diligence from several of the people invested in this. So on the building side, we had the Concom folks take, so
Smart.
we've learned through the process who we need to check with now, which is actually helpful as well.
Well, and Todd did the site review, which is one of the things you gotta do anyway.
For it, so. Okay, the discussion? If not, is there a motion to authorize movement on the reconstruction of the softball field at the elementary school?
Motion?
Sorry.
Motion's made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
3-0. Good work. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
That was
Thank you.
easy.
We'll be back with some pretty pictures, hopefully.
Let's see a ball game.
Thanks
I
in
know.
advance.
Let's see a
Yeah,
ball game. That's what we're looking
exactly.
for.
Thanks in
Yep.
advance to all those volunteers, too.
Yeah, really, there's a long list, so.
Quite a lot going on. Well, thanks again. We do appreciate it.
I think Deb's coming down from Shelburne.
You just
We
wait
did some
for it.
fine work. I'll meet her in the lobby
Right.
when we got done here.
Perfect.
All right, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Tom, we have, we know we have a treasure collector search in front of us. You have a piece about the Veterans Day?
Okay, Mr. On Wednesday, this coming Wednesday, November 6th, at 9:30 at the Veterans Memorial here in Centertown is going to be the continuation of the Veterans Memorial that started by former Principal Merritt. So at 9:30, you're going to start off with opening comments. There's going to be retired Colonel James Lake will be our guest speaker. You'll have a Westover Air Reserve Base, will have their honor guard present. The children from Sunderland Elementary School will be on site. They have a couple of portions where they're singing songs. We also have a number, and I think when I last talked to Dan Van Dalsen, he's talking about at least 20 service members that are attending. And they'll have an opportunity to talk with the students, but also we have a special thing that's coming from the Veterans Administration also, that will make a presentation at that thing as well. So I would encourage, if anybody has this Wednesday morning available at around 9:30, to stop off at the Veterans Memorial and have an opportunity to honor our veterans.
Again, Wednesday, 9:30. I think that makes great sense. Will the practice continue on with service members going to the school?
Yes.
Great. I thought that was a really creative program. Very, very nice. Okay, we have that. We also have a reminder from the town clerk that although communities around the Commonwealth are having elections, the town of Sunderland is not having an election tomorrow.
That is correct.
So we hear on the news about ballot initiatives, town-specific. We hear about state senators. We hear about special elections.
Yeah.
Not in Sunderland.
No.
So please, pay attention for our next election, which of course is in May by bylaw. And in this case here, there are no special elections in the town of Sunderland. Okay. So we have a treasurer collector search update we've done. We have the annual budget memo, and Margaret and I were speaking this morning about the annual budget memo. She reminded me that it was in draft form and it's out there for us to take a look at. And that in this case here, a couple of things came up about usual growth, revenue projections, prior years, percentages of expense growth, but also that, in the past 3 weeks, we've taken.
Mr., before you get that, treasurer collector. When's the search end, Margaret?
12th, Tuesday the
Then
12th.
what's happening? We're not meeting to the 18th. What happens after the 12th?
That would be, I think it's important for the board to talk. My preference, if we have resumes come in, would be to have Board of Selectmen interviews with the candidates, and I'm happy to arrange those.
So are you claiming that would be a final? That means that would be public?
It would be public. It would be a Board of Selectmen's interview with a candidate. I mean, it's the board's prerogative, but, it would allow for the process to move forward in my opinion, so.
Tom, public, you wanna have that on the Monday, or do you wanna have the meeting that week, once they close? We'd have to, of course, notify candidates. I'm marking down Veterans Day.
I'm happy to do an initial interview, but I think ultimately, and, not too long after the initial interview, I'd like to see see the board have an open, public interview with candidates.
Prior with the board, wanna have it earlier, or you wanna wait until the 18th? Or do you want to revisit the screening committee? And probably have that recommendation brought forward.
Well, I don't have a problem with Margaret screening. As long as she has direction as what we're looking for.
I think I have a good sense.
Yeah.
You're on the last screening
I
committee.
was gonna say, it
Yeah.
has been that long
Yeah.
between, so.
Yeah. So initial screening for the town administrator, and then recommendation to bring candidates forward for interview with the board?
Yeah.
Could do it on
Okay.
the 18th, and early part of it.
Want to have it on the 18th?
Does that
That's our
work?
next scheduled meeting, is the 18th.
No.
Because that's the business meeting. We could have the 19th, following Tuesday, the day after. This allows for candidates to get their schedules cleared. Or the week of if it closes the 12th.
Okay, so the latest the candidates would come to the board, I can't read the date, the last Monday in November.
Well, no, if you're closing on the 12th.
Closing the
Yeah.
12th, you have the 13th and 14th for screening.
Right.
And then,
I'm just saying not on that Monday. We have
Right.
business to do,
Right.
run the we wouldn't have a meeting for 2 weeks.
Yep.
Run the selectmen business.
Yep.
Don't have a meeting that's gonna go to midnight.
you want to have,
So if you wanna have it, after the 18th, you got 19, 20, 21, 22.
so 19 and 20 I would be available, 21, 22 I'll be out of town.
Okay. So that's what I'm saying, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I'm not gonna do it the night of the selectmen's meeting. That's
Because we can-
selectmen's meeting,
Right.
not interviews.
No, not in my mind.
We do this all the time.
So if we,
Do it
Well,
the
if you look at our agenda, our regular thing wasn't gonna be there at 8 o'clock, it's like, holy moly.
Right.
Let's do
we
it the
can-
19th then.
getting close, right?
Right,
Let's do it Tuesday the 19th.
So interviews on the 19th.
as long as that's not the night for the Board of Oversight.
It is the night for the Board of Oversight.
Then we can have it for the 20th,
Well,
all right? You can have it on the 20th.
Oh, is there a good night? I don't know.
The 20th is fine.
20th is fine.
And you'll have that tentatively for 7 PM?
Yeah.
Okay. Done, interview. Okay. Potential interview. Okay, so tentative for the 20th, 7. Okay, budget memo. Any particular comments, questions?
I did add in here, based on our conversation today, you'll see that the budget increase, from 13 to 14 was $202,173, 2.9%. That includes the amount the town committed in FY 14 to the regional EMS service. It's really the biggest change on this.
But having that is important. I say it only because that increase is something that moves forward into the next budget cycle.
That's right. And it's ongoing.
And letting departments know that we built this regional EMS
Now
piece
built into it.
sends up a really clear message that, there are still bits and pieces of initiative the town has been undertaking. Education has had some years of initiative, public safety's now had some years of initiative, putting that out there while they're, as part of the directive of how their budgets are developed, recognizes that we have some spending already in place.
The Finance Committee has requested to meet jointly with the Board of Selectmen for budget hearings this year. I know there was a two-year
I thought that worked great.
break, but,
Yeah.
but the
Good
chair of the
idea.
Finance Committee has asked, so
good.
we'll get out a budget for budget hearings, a schedule for budget hearings soon.
It's that time of year.
So it's begun. Okay. Anything else for tonight? Again, we've got Veterans Day, the 11th, Monday, the town offices are closed. That is a holiday. And our next meeting will be the 18th. Board of Oversight is going to take off. There is a capital committee meeting tomorrow, Frontier. That was part of the workout of the multi-town administrative meeting, and definition of capital, mechanisms for it. That's happening tomorrow night at 7. Beyond that, that's all I've got. Anything else? Not, is there a motion?
No, motion.
Second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
3-0. You can call us out at 7:55, please.